The Sawyer Squeeze or the HydroBlu Versa Flow? Which one is better? Stay tuned to see what you think. Hey guys, Will here. In today's video we're going to be doing a comparison review between the Sawyer Squeeze and the HydroBlu Versa Flow. The Sawyer Squeeze is by far the most used filter out there, especially among the through hiker crowd. It's been out for several years and it's dependable. It's fairly versatile, and yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it's very, very popular and a great choice. But you'll also want to know about the HydroBlu Versa Flow. This one's been out for a little over a year, and we're gonna just compare the specs between them, and then we're going to really get down to the pros and cons that are unique to each one of these filters and help you guys decide if you haven't picked up one of these yet, or if you're interested in seeing one compared to the other. This video should help you decide which one to go with. So I've had both of these filters out in the field. I've been using them both. This one I purchased several years ago and have been using it as my primary filter since then. This one I purchased earlier this last spring, early summer, and have used it a number of times on some trips this summer. And so I have found that both of them do offer some unique pros and cons against each other, and we're going to find that out in this video here. Filtration Technology. So both of these filters employ hollow membrane fibers. That's a technology that was adapted from dialysis machines. So for those who have kidney problems, bad kidneys, and need to go in every few days to have their blood cleansed by machines called dialysis machines, those are medical miracles. And that same technology has been employed by Sawyer several years ago when they first came out with the Sawyer Squeeze. So that's pretty cool, I think. And of course, other brands picked up on that technology now, and now you've got HydroBlu. So they both use a hollow fibers, several strands of hollow fibers that bend back in a U shape inside the filter. In fact, let's get a quick look at what those hollow fibers can look like. So I've cracked open my Sawyer Mini here, and look at that. That is, well, a wrangled up filter there, but unlike a ceramic or carbon core cartridge that you'd find in your standard pump style filters, this is what those U-shaped hollow membrane fibers look like. These are each little hollow tubes that run out and then make a U and come back in, and the water goes in. I take that back. The water goes in from this side, as the arrow shows, and the water goes up against the outside of these tubes. And again, there's thousands of holes through these tubes. The water flushes up against those tubes and then gets inside those holes, leaving the bad stuff on the outside, and then it all comes out and is released on this end, where it then comes out the outlet port. And that's just the basic function on all of these filters, including the HydroBlu here. In fact, with this one, you can actually see a little window inside to see its fibers that look very much like these guys. And so again, that's your in, and then you're out. And the Sawyer Squeeze, same way, goes in, gets pushed against those fibers, and then out that way. The size. The size of this guy is about 5.75 inches long and about 1.75 inches at its widest point here. So the HydroBlu, like the Sawyer, comes out almost 5.75 inches from tip to tip as well. Pretty darn close in height. And width-wise, it's a little bit narrower, 1/4 inch narrower at 1.5 inches on the widest points here and here. So size-wise, the HydroBlu is just a little bit more compact by 1/4 inch in width. Weight. The Sawyer Squeeze does weigh 3 ounces, or so it's listed out of the package. I have found that once you use these, the weight goes up because of course it's going to retain some moisture. This will go up anywhere from 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce, depending on how much moisture it's retaining. I like to shake mine out pretty vigorously after using, and I find that that brings the weight back down to about 3.5 ounces from about 4 ounces. And then the Versa Flow, this is going to weigh about 2 ounces out of its package, dry and brand new. So again, once it's been used, it's going to retain a little bit of weight with some moisture in there, and so it's going to put you up about 2.5 to 3 ounces. Again, I like to shake out as much of the water as I can. So weight-wise, the HydroBlu is going to run you about 1 ounce lighter overall, even after use between these two filters. Filtration level. The Sawyer is rated to 0.1 microns absolute. That means that this guy is guaranteed to not have any hole anywhere on the thousands of holes on its membranes on the interior to be any bigger than 0.1 micron. Nothing bigger than 0.1 microns going to get out into the clean water coming out of the outlet here. This is going to keep out 99.999999999999999% of all the bad bugs and bacteria, protozoa, things like Giardia, Cryptosporidium, all that nasty stuff that can make you really sick and just make you really miserable for several weeks. Similar to the Sawyer, the Versa Flow, according to its specification listings, it too is rated to 0.1 micron. However, it does not say absolute, so it is feasible to believe that some holes might be slightly larger than 0.1. So this too is expected to filter out 99.9999999999999% of all that bad bacteria and protozoa as well. Virus protection. Neither the Sawyer nor the HydroBlu is going to filter out viruses. Sawyer does make a filter that is rated to 0.02 or 0.02 microns now that will filter out viruses, but this is not that. This is this is just a 0.1 micron, same as this one. So neither of these are gonna keep you safe from viruses. That tends not to be a concern in most water sources, especially in backcountry water sources in the United States and throughout North America. But outside of North America, I can't speak to those water sources, but I know there are lots of areas internationally beyond North America that are suspect to viruses. So if you're traveling abroad, you're going to want to be sure to have something else that can take care of viruses as well. Quality control. According to the Sawyer, these things are meticulously manufactured, and each individual unit is thoroughly inspected against a rigorous QC process, and each one of these is made in the USA. Now, Sawyer is a USA company. They're based out of Safety Harbor, Florida. I find that neat that the city is actually called Safety Harbor, and that these are to help you drink water safely. Ha ha ha. Now, HydroBlu is a company based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, not far from where I live. But unlike the Sawyer, these guys are made in China. I am not sure about any details of the QC process. They don't list anything specific to how these are inspected and quality controlled. That's not to say that anything in China is a bad product. Lots of good stuff with good quality still is made in China, but as we know, there's a lot of knockoff stuff that comes out of China that's not all that dependable and reliable. And when it comes to drinking water and keeping your health, I'm not going to say, you know, this is any worse than this. Like I said, I've been using this for a number of trips now in various water sources and some high use areas, and I've not gotten sick. So anecdotally, I can tell you that I'm comfortable with this and I'm confident in it. My friend Devin from Backcountry Exposure, he's been using one of these for most of his trips over the last year, and he too has yet to get sick. In fact, it was through him that I found out about this filter and saw it in action on a trip we had together. It actually made me want to come back and purchase this myself, as I did. So I think it's a quality product. Capacity and lifespan. The Sawyer is rated for a lifetime of use. It does not have a maximum capacity of water that can be filtered through it listed. It is actually listed to be a lifetime product. That means if you maintain this as instructed, that means do not let it freeze, which can burst and crack the membranes inside, and regularly back flushing it and properly storing it when you're not using it, especially during months or seasons that you may not be as active with it, like in the winter for a lot of people, and it sits on the shelf for several months at a time. You're going to want to treat this as directed by the manufacturer, and yeah, you can expect to get a lifetime of use out of this, so they say. I haven't lived my whole life yet, so I don't know that I can testify to that, but I'm confident that this guy can hold out again with proper maintenance. Now, unlike the Sawyer, the HydroBlu does have a stated capacity at 20,000 liters. So on an average trip, I will filter anywhere from 2 to 4 liters of water a day. So that's going to give me what, 5,000 to 10,000 days of use with this guy? That's a lot of days. Several years of using this every day. So quite probable a lifetime for the average user, weekend warrior like myself. Flow rate. Now, I don't have a scientific mathematical flow rate for you between these two. All I can give you is my field tested experience. So I had both of these out on a trip recently, and I specifically wanted to compare how their flow rates did against each other. And so I filtered a liter of water through each using a gravity method. And the only difference between the containers used for both the dirty water and the clean water was the filter. So the Sawyer Squeeze, I clocked it at about 7 minutes to get a liter of water under its own weight from the dirty bag that I had on it into the water bottle I had to collect the clean water. And to me, that wasn't too shabby. Again, that was a gravity setup. That was not squeezing it with any kind of force or pressure. And that was after a recent back flush and doing everything I could to restore it to like new condition. Now, doing the same test on the HydroBlu, it actually beat out the Sawyer Squeeze by almost a full minute. This was right about 6 minutes to filter a liter of water. Now, keep in mind, this is much newer. This had only been used on a few other trips prior to that, and I've only had this since June of this past summer. Something else that could be affecting the flow rates and making this one a little bit faster than this one is the quality of the fibers used in these. Calvin College, the Clean Water Institute of Calvin College or Calvin University, I think they're based in Michigan, did a study last year and released some study results. They actually compared the hollow fiber membranes between a selection of filters. They did a couple life straw models. They did the MSR quick shot. I can't remember what the MSR one is called, so forgive me for that. They did some Catadyne models, including the Catadyne B-Free that has become popular for a lot of people because of its super fast flow rate, at least out of the package. And then they did it, compared that with, tested all that along with the Sawyer Squeeze, a Sawyer Micro, and then a Sawyer Mini. And interestingly, they found that the fibers, the hollow fibers used in the Sawyer line were up to 75% stronger and potentially more durable than the other filters. Now, they did not include the HydroBlu, but I would dare say that the hollow membrane fibers in this one are going to be more comparable to the other filters membranes out there than it would be to the Sawyer. Difference between the inner and outer diameter of the Sawyer filters was significantly thicker than all the other brands. So a lot of people have found that these other brands, some of these models by other brands, are quite a bit faster than even the Sawyer, the main Sawyer Squeeze original here. So that may be because the water has passed through a thicker membrane than it does with the other filters. What that also means, hypothetically, is that you can more rigorously backflush this thing, and those fibers or those membranes are going to hold up to higher pressure. Both squeezing water through and backwashing, especially with the high pressure syringe that Sawyer provides with each of their filters. So that's something to keep in mind as you're shopping around all these different lines of filters, is these guys have been independently tested against other brands and models of filters, and there may be something to be said of the slightly slower rates, flow rates through the Sawyer filters against the other brands out there. And that is, again, the thickness of those hollow membrane fibers. Inline use. Can either of these be used in line? That is, connecting them as an inline filter, say from a Camelback type hydration pouch that you carry on your back or in your pack, and drink out of a tube or straw that comes out of it? And the answer to that is yes. So with the HydroBlu, there are little ports on both ends that would allow you to connect, say, a drinking tube of some sort onto either end. Just like so. This can also allow you to set the water straight into a water source directly and drink straight from the water source, say a little creek or stream or even a little lakeside, just like so. However, with the Sawyer Squeeze here, you'd have to get some accessory parts to do the same thing. You'd have to remove the cap that comes with the main filter here, and again, get these accessory pieces. This is a little male threaded part that goes in the female thread on the back end here. It's got a little port that inserts into the tube here that I've got, and then I've got a little quick release here that, well, there we go. So this is a little quick release lock, and then this could go into a hydration tube off of a Camelback or comparable hydration pack or bladder. And for the front end, you have a little blue cap that gets sold with the gray cap here, and this blue one also has a little nozzle that this hose is connected to. And again, that could be laid in line of a hydration bladder tube that allows you to drink and filter all at the same time. You could even, again, put your main cap back on like so, and with a longer tube hanging off that end, you could dip the other end of that tube into another water source on the run and drink straight through. So they're both very versatile in that matter. Bag sizes. Each of these filters are available with branded bags to collect dirty water into, and then to squeeze or otherwise take water from into the filter and out the outlet. The Sawyer filter bags are available in 16 ounce, 32 ounce, and 64 ounce bags. That's half a liter to a full liter to 2 liter bags. This one's a 1 liter bag, or 32 ounces, that came with my filter. The HydroBlu, I opted to purchase alone by itself. I did not purchase it with the bags, but as far as I can tell, if you do get the kit that comes with the bag, as far as I could see, limited to 32 ounce bags. Thread size. Now, both of these filters are claiming a thread size of 28 millimeters. But there's a huge difference between those 28 millimeters between these two filters. You would think that both being rated to 28 millimeter threads, they would both adapt well and mate well with all the same types of water bags or bladders and bottles out there that are also 28 millimeters. But that's just not the case, unfortunately. So that is where each one of these begin to have a distinct advantage over the other, and the versatility between the two is a little bit different between them. So to show off that big difference, let's start off with a popular way that thru hikers like to use the Sawyer Squeeze, at least those that use this as their primary filter on their thru hikes. What they'll typically do to make their system as simple and lightweight as possible is they will just collect their water from water sources directly into a bottle like these smart bottles. And there's another brand of water out there called Life Water. They both are pretty identical in their shape and thread, and they mate very well with the Sawyer Squeeze. So again, they'll take these say smart water bottles, and they'll they'll thread the filter straight onto the thread of the bottle, and they'll just drink as they go, just like so. So this works well. As you can see, as I squeeze through the water there is no leakage from the thread there. So, however, when you try to do that with the HydroBlu, water, leakage, bad water. That's right. For whatever reason, the threads on these smart bottles or Life water bottles will not mate or get you a good seal, no matter how snug you try to make it on these. And I would not try to go too far on these threads, or you might not be able to get it out. I think Devin from Backcountry Exposure recently made the mistake of going too hard and threading his Versa Flow one end or the other onto a bottle, and jammed it in there pretty good. So I would not recommend using the HydroBlu in the same way on these smart water bottles or the Life Water brand as well, because you can get the same issue. However, it might feel good on a hot summer day. Yeah, that feels good getting that water down there, but no, don't do that. because you also, not only are you going to lose half your water, but you run a major risk of having contaminated water running down here and getting into your lips and getting in your mouth after all, or, you know, it's just not worth it. So yeah, don't do it. Now, this can still be used the same way, just not with a smart water bottle. What you want to use is a standard soda bottle, or in this case, a Dasani. So get that on there nice and snug, and this should be a good seal. Yep, no leakage. So if using the HydroBlu, just make sure you're using a Dasani water bottle or a standard plastic soda bottle to get the same capability of a Sawyer filter on a smart water bottle. Now, of course, both these filters can be used, well, to squeeze water through, hence the name Sawyer Squeeze. So these Sawyer filters often come with their own brand of bags, as I mentioned earlier. Of course, you're going to collect dirty water from your water source into it, dirty being that it's likely contaminated or assumed to be contaminated. And then you're going to be squeezing your water out into, say, you know, your bottle like so. And that's the primary method that these were designed to be used, just like that. Now you can also do it with a platypus soft bag here, like this. This is a platypus brand, and you know, it'll work pretty well the same. And again, you can drink straight out of it. So, still versatile in that way. Another popular brand off Amazon are these ever new bags. They're a little bit more durable, or at least have a reputation of being a little bit more durable than the Sawyer brand. I've never had an issue with the Sawyer brand bags that I've been using, but I do have this ever new bag, and again, same thing. You can filter on there and, you know, squeeze into another bottle or directly in your mouth. So like the plastic bottles, this thing mates very well with a wide variety of water bags. Now as for the Versa Flow, we'll have a look there. We'll go to the platypus. And there is a little bit of leakage there. So if you were to do straight into a bottle, it could run down and contaminate your water bottle. So I would probably steer clear of using a platypus bag with a HydroBlu. Let's see how it does with the Evernew. Nice and snug. And again, I'm getting a little bit of leakage out of the middle there. So it's just not holding up to these bags either. So if you were gonna get a bag to squeeze, to use the squeeze method with, I would recommend getting this filter with its own set of HydroBlu branded bags that I would expect would have a better seal with this guy. Or the only other bag that mates really, really well on the market that I have not shown yet, and that I have recently converted to this last season, is the Knock brand bags, or C-Knock. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I've heard it said both ways, but I think it's just pronounced Knock. The C, I believe, is silent, as I've heard it pronounced. And so Knock Outdoors makes these awesome little hydration bags. They're a little bit heavier, but I think it's worth the slight uptick in weight because these are so convenient and so durable. They are actually rated to take on 200 pounds of pressure. I've seen other videos of guys standing on these things without bursting them, and that's pretty dang incredible if you ask me. Let's show off how this can be used on both of these filters, and that's my favorite way to use it, and that's a gravity method. So here's my favorite method to use these filters, and that's in a gravity setup here. As you can see, the water's coming right through there at a pretty good pace just as it is. And to use this setup with the original Sawyer bags that often come with these filters depending on the kit you get, I've just punched out with a little hole puncher. These little holes up here, ran a little bit of paracord, or you can use pretty much any kind of cordage you got, and run that through there at whatever length desired. Make a little knot. I just did a little overhand knot. Screw or thread your filter onto your bag like so. Make sure it's dropping through the inlet portion so it flows down like the arrow shows. And then to mate it with the bottle here, or you could do another bag here if you wanted to collect into a similar bag. You can get these little couplers, these little bottle adapters that thread onto the filter. You just remove the cap that comes on the squeeze there, and then put the adapter coupler back on there, and then that gives you two female threads on each end, one to go on the male threads of the filter and then the male threads of the bottle. And then of course you want it snug on the filter, but to alleviate pressure that builds up in these bottles, the tip I recommend is to then loosen it by a half turn to a full turn, and that will allow you this pressure. And I didn't put a whole lot of water in there, so it's running dry out of the bag now, and about filled up that bottle halfway there, just to demonstrate that method with the Sawyer brand bag. So here I've got a similar setup, but this time I am using the Evernew brand bag. Same deal, cut out with a hole puncher, popped out some holes. And on this one, just for a little extra durability, I put in some grommets to put the cordage through. Last, but certainly not least, is the Knock Outdoors brand bag I have in gravity mode here. And this is definitely my favorite bag to use with this gravity setup method now. And again, you can use the same bottle, same setup with the filter there, but just a different bag. And the reason why I like this bag so much, not only the durability, but it's got this easy fill top. This top slides out, and then that's got this wide mouth opening that I can just hold under a creek or stream, and it fills up almost instantly. Even in a lake, a couple scoops through the surface of a lake, and it fills up pretty quick. Bring it back to camp, throw in the filter, throw in the bottle, and then hang it off a tree, and away it goes. And here is the Knock bag going with the HydroBlu Versa Flow here. And this is the key point I want to make this whole video against taking the HydroBlu against the Sawyer, is that the HydroBlu actually mates really well with the Knock Outdoors bag, just like the Sawyer bag. Very interesting why it does not work well with all the other bottles and bags, but with the Knock bag, it is a perfect fit. And I think it's probably because the material of the Knock bag is a softer, more pliable plastic, and so it allows it to kind of get a better seal in those threads going in, so it will not leak out of that connection there. as we saw with the other bottles and bags. And so the HydroBlu works very, very well on this gravity setup, as you can see. And again, very nice flow coming out of there, nice little consistent stream. And here's the other unique thing, unlike the Sawyer, is the Versa Flow has another thread, female thread, on the outlet here. So you do not need to buy an extra coupler to mate this with your bottle. Your bottle can screw right into the outlet here, and at this point in this method, it doesn't matter what kind of bottle you use. You can use the Smart Water bottle brands, because again, you do not want a full seal with the outlet here. You want to be able to relieve the air pressure as it builds up and the water pushes that air pressure out. So it's actually good to have air leakage coming out of that outlet connection there. And so yeah, you can use pretty much any bottle that has 28 millimeter thread neck on it, and you should be good to go with that. And so that's probably what I love more than anything about the Versa Flow. Not just that it's so far a little bit faster than the Sawyer, but I don't have to bring any extra parts along to mate my bottle up with the Versa Flow. I can just connect straight to the bag on one end and straight to the bottle on the other end, and it's a single unit between the bag and the bottle. And then when not in use, as you can see, there's a little rubber cap that's self-contained that goes right over the little ports on both ends of it. So there you have it, guys. Two incredibly awesome water filters, at least in my opinion and in my experience. I will say that my recommendation for the HydroBlu would be, if you're more budget minded, this can be picked up off Amazon all by itself for roughly $20, and you know, and it will get the job done. But I would recommend getting a knock bag to go with it if you want to use it in the gravity feed setup, or you can look at getting it in the kit from HydroBlu with its own bag. Or, you know, if you're going to use it like the thru hiker style, definitely again use the Dasani water bottle, and you can get away with it using just the filter and no other components to go with it aside from the water bottle, and you'll be okay. Now, if you have a few dollars extras to spend and you want the peace of mind of having something that's made in the USA, where each and every single unit goes through a rigorous quality control inspection, go with the Sawyer. It's got the lifespan on it, and you know, again, these have been out for years and years. They're popular for a reason. They're dependable, they're functional, and they come in a variety of different packs, different kits with different components to go with it. The cheapest being the faucet adapter kit that lets you get it for 23 bucks with a faucet adapter that's good for traveling. It's targeted at people traveling overseas and whatnot, but you can also get all sorts of other little accessories and connections, as I showed, between the coupler, inline kit, and all sorts of other goodies to go that work well with the Sawyer filter here. I'm going to leave links to everything I showed off in this video as much as I can down below. I will disclose that they are affiliate links with Amazon, and if you purchase through any of them for any of the products that I've shared with you in this video, it will definitely help support me and my channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But if not, no biggie. I just hope that this video was helpful and informative to you guys, and helps you make a decision if you haven't picked up one or the other, or maybe some of the benefits of one over the other will motivate you to pick up the alternative. So guys, I hope the video was helpful and informative. If you found it to be such, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, so you can get more content like this. I do lots of trips, and I'm going to be doing lots more gear reviews that will hopefully be helpful to the backpacking and outdoor community at large. And we'll see you on the next one.